Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Moby with Lifestyle TV, and today we have great guest Bruce Batman film actor director with us, and we're gonna ask Cory about his journey. He's gonna be joining shortly, so let's watch his clip from the movie and see what we have.
And kill her. Sorry. Sorry. Then kill her. Sorry. Then kill her. Sorry.
Shit. I swear I did enough this time to end it all.
Hey, look at that. You can't even kill yourself right. No cigar for this loser. Next time, don't be such a pussy. Just pull the trigger.
Oh, you're back. I thought I got rid of you.
You can't get rid of me. I am you.
There goes another year of sobriety wasted.
Oops. Oh well. I hated those meetings anyway. But hey, I need a fucking drink. So let's go.
You know, you're too good for me. I'm not worth it.
I concur.
Why are you even here?
Shits and giggles. So where are we going?
I don't know. I didn't plan on being alive right now.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Hey, look at you.
No. Not really the best option.
Oh, you want to hit the library or bingo night?
Okay, we have our guest with us, Cory. We welcome you. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good, good. I was showing audience a clip from your movie, and it's great work. Wow, amazing.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. Tell my audience about yourself.
Sure. So I'm a man, an American man who lives in Philadelphia. Lives in the Philadelphia area. I've made my name for myself sort of in the independent pro wrestling game for, I don't know, probably since 2002. So been like 18, 19 years, something like that. I've been making my name for myself in the wrestling game. Probably about 10 of those years have been spent doing stand-up comedy, doing sketch comedy. I've been doing podcasts. I have a wrestling podcast that I host with my friends called Wrestle Rock. We've been doing that for, I think we're on our fifth year of that.
My friends.
And currently, I host my own podcast called Evolving with Cory Kastle. I've been doing that since 2017, and I'm an actor. You just pop Cory Kastle into IMDb, and you'll be able to go through and see all the stuff that I've done.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. Just to see you wear so many hats, and so tell me which one you started first. I know you have started a lot of things. So tell me, how did you end up with what you're doing right now?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I started. This is a real weird thing because I discovered pro wrestling when I was a kid. So I was like 12 years old when I discovered pro wrestling, and I was a huge fan. And that was at the time where for wrestling fans, they'll know it. It's called the Attitude Era. So that means that's when the NWO was going on, and that was when when Hulk Hogan was a bad guy, and that was when it first started. And then that was when Stone Cold Steve Austin was starting to rise up. And around that time, I decided I want to be a pro wrestler. So I found a pro wrestling school that I started going to in 1998 when I was 14 years old. And I just was like, well, I just got to get good at this. And that's the point of anything for me is always, I got to get good at it. Not like I go let me set unrealistic goals. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be 14 years old. I'm going to be the first WWF superstar at 14 years old. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to just keep getting good at this, And I don't care how long it takes, as long as I'm really good at the end of the day. So I can say that about my comedy. I can say that about my podcast. I can say that about everything and how it's an evolving process.
Well, and that is, I think, beauty about all this is that, you evolve, and because you don't have anything but passion, to evolve and learn and kind of grow what you're doing. And I see that, you have started, of course, with one, but it blossomed into a lot of things, and it's still, working very well for you. So tell me about your comedy. You say you do stand-up comedy.
Yeah, yeah. Same thing with that as when I said like I just want to make sure I'm good at it. Like I just really my goal is to get great at it. So
Mhm.
I don't have too much as far as like stuff that's available to watch because I don't really feel good enough to have like the world see it, you know? So I want to get really good before I start showing it to people. Um, I I guess when I was a kid and I wanted to be a wrestler, my thing I wanted to do first was I wanted to be a comedian. I looked up to so many comedians. I loved stand-up comedy. Always a fan of stand-up comedy, and I just focused so much on the wrestler thing that I
Mhm.
put the comedian thing to the back seat because I didn't know that that was a thing I didn't know I could do both things. I thought I
Mhm.
could do one thing or the other thing, but I can do multiple things.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I started doing comedy in like 2008 probably is when I started.
2008. So tell me, who you said you were inspired by so many comedians. Who was your some of inspiration?
Mitch Hedberg, Mitch Hedberg, Brian Regan, Pablo Francisco, Dane Cook, Mike
Mhm.
Birbiglia, Daniel Tosh, Pete Holmes. Uh, there's tons of them, tons of comedians. I can like rattle off bits like John Mulaney bits. I'm such a comedy nerd. Like you'll look at me and go like, oh, this guy's just a dumb wrestler. But I'm like, no, I could just I'm a I'm a dumb comedian.
Dumb. Okay, so tell me, which one was your first performance, or any of your scripts you remember?
Of like the first time I ever did stand up, it was the first
Yeah,
joke I
stand up,
did.
or any you want to share with us.
Oh, sure, man. I'm can I say bad words or is it should I
Well,
edit myself?
limited.
Okay, okay.
You can
I,
you can
I'm
say,
I'm
shut the
I'm
front door.
I'm totally fine with censoring. I
Okay,
I came up doing family shows.
okay.
My pro wrestling shows. Most of the shows I do over the years have been family friendly. So
Okay.
my first joke, I can remember the first joke I did on stage was I said, older people think that they have better manners than me only because they're older than me. They just look at me and judge me from the picture that they see and like don't really take the time to realize that I also have manners. Like I was coming out of this convenience store and this woman held the door open for me. And as I was turning to say thank you, she went, "You're welcome," and was like a real jerk about it. And I was
Mhm.
like, in my head, I was like, you can't do that. You can't say I have to prompt you by saying something by doing or saying something first.
Mhm.
So I turned to her and as serious as I could be, I went, Gesundheit. She's like, what do you mean? I didn't sneeze. I'm like, well, I didn't effing say thank you. And that was the first big laugh I got. And then I was like, all right, I'm good at this. And then it took me like a humbling. You know what I mean? It took me, I had to like go, wow, I'm good. And then go, wow, I'm not so good. Like I had to go and bomb. You have to get those bombs in to like realize that you're not as good as your hype is telling you that you are, to just kind of bring you down to reality and be leveled on that.
And what kind of crowd now? So you just kind of go and do stand up sometimes, or just
Well, I mean, my last stuff I did was, the global pandemic is kind of affecting everything. So
yeah.
I'm not doing it as much as I was, but at Christmas time, from November 24th to December 24th, I was hosting a Christmas amazing Christmas village in Bensalem, PA, at an outdoor stage where it's like I would do stand up comedy and then I'd introduce like a musical act or like a dance crew or the Mummers or uh, what other? There was other like different talents. People getting out there and doing Christmas music and singing and dancing to Christmas songs
Mm.
and just do some jokes in between and then come back off and go back on. And I was doing that like Saturdays and Sundays all through December.
Oh wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, considering with the COVID and a lot of artists are actually at home. So that's pretty good.
I got a secret.
But
I got paid for it.
ah,
It was my first stand-up comedy paid. Not my first. Not my first. I got paid $100 like probably 10 years ago to
Mm.
host like a bachelor party thing. But like I had my best friend came with me and I had him do a set and I gave him half the money.
Ah.
But
as a gift or just
no, he performed, so he deserved it. He worked for it. I was splitting the payday. I gotta spread it around and keep it even.
hey man, you are generous. You share your wealth. A lot of people don't want to share anything.
Well, I mean, I recognize that for a lot of the things that I have, I wouldn't have them if I didn't have the people who've got my back. So when it comes to my family and my friends, and even like new people that I meet, if they've got some value in my life, I recognize that value and then pay it right back, whether it is in money or effort or time, because I feel that attention, intention, and effort are a way far more greater currency than money. Because man, we're in an age where every itch has got to be scratched right away. So
Cool.
I got like when it came to like that film that you were watching, it's like we made it 15 minutes because that's not too much to ask of people, but it seems like it's a lot to ask when people can watch TikTok videos that last 7 seconds and like keep continuing to consume them, or when it comes to downloading my podcast, Evolving with Cory Kastle, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That some of those episodes can get to be about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, sometimes maybe even more. But it's like I go, hey, if you've dug in here and you've like spent the time and you've spent the effort, like because the show itself isn't on the radio. You can't just turn the radio on and it be on. You have to seek it out. You have to know where it is. You have to have subscribed to it, or you have had to click on a link that I shared, or you'd have to click on a link that one of the guests might have shared just to sort of kind of get a feel for it. But then on top of that, you're taking the effort to get a more personalized look into who we are as people, because who we are as people is evident in what we're passionate about.
Yeah, that is so true. So I also want to ask you, that is also a big question. To make people laugh is the hardest thing. To
Mhm.
basically, so comedy is very difficult. So, in my opinion, more difficult than wrestling.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's there's such layers. There's such layers to the difficulty of wrestling, because it's like it's such a performance. It's such a craft. It's such a you kind of have to dive your whole self into it. That's why I still say, like, I've been doing it for 20 years, and I'm not going to say that I'm better at it than anybody. I just know I'm really good at it, and I'm way better than I used to be. I'm a being of light and love who has nothing but work to do. All I've got to do is work to get better. And that
Sure.
I learned that lesson in wrestling. I learned the lesson in wrestling to understand, like, to sort of grab your emotional strings and toy with them, because that's what I saw as a fan. I saw that pro wrestling as like a non-wrestling fan, if you watch it and you're like, oh, that's just barbaric and that's that's just violence for the sake of violence. It's not. It's violence that's not like competitive violence. It is like a flowing water. It's like an art form of violence that appears to be a competition, but it's not as much of a competition as it's like a performance, and it's fun, and it's us making you feel something. And that, like, I felt like that learning through that helped me understand how to build a set in comedy. Help me learn how to like start this way and go this way and plateau off and go down. And that's all part of what I learned all those years in the ring.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, no, also, a lot of, for comedy, people have sometimes, they have a lot of, actually, to make other people laugh, they are actually could have very much sadness themselves.
oh yeah, totally. The only people who get into doing stand-up comedy are people who are very damaged on the inside. There's something in your past that has messed you up, and it's kind of made you go, well, I've got this big look at me hole where I think that my opinions and my thoughts are worth sharing with other people more than their thoughts are worth sharing with me. So it's a rhetorical conversation. It's like I'm standing here talking and you're all sitting there in the dark listening because I'm under a light and I'm more important. And that only comes from being some type of damaged, having some sort of like ego hole, some sort of neglect, or something had come from past behavior that you're not all the way dealt with yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to me saying we're all a work in progress. We're all continuously evolving.
Okay. So also tell me, do you have any, how do you keep yourself motivated for doing comedy?
Oh man, I keep myself motivated the same way for everything. I look at who I am today versus who I was yesterday, and I'm grateful for all the things, the things that I have, and all the things that I've accomplished, and go, wow, I'm still on the road to it. I'm a very, very dedicated weightlifter. So I have my hands are like very calloused. My hands are very jacked up. And if my hands don't have these calluses on them, I go, man, I gotta get in there. I gotta get in there and lift some weights. Yeah. So I kind of do that with comedy. If I go well, if I didn't feel like that scratch has been itched, I want to make sure it's better next time.
Yeah. So also tell me, what is your normal routine, or how do you keep yourself in good shape? Because physically you have to be very fit to fight. So tell me a little bit about your routine so people can kind of do something.
That's sort of a thing that as you're doing it, you're learning. So in the beginning of my wrestling career, I wasn't as fit. And maybe I was a kid. So, the kids are just naturally fit. So then I started becoming an adult. I started becoming a man. And then I was like, oh, well, I gotta exercise because like, I'm kind of getting like a little pudgy here. Like that kind of was happening to me because, when I was younger, I just had like abs by accident. Like I just woke up and I had abs and I was like cocky about it. Look at this. Like this was my motion. I know people listening can't see what I'm doing, but I would just point at my stomach and like do this, like kind of, it looks like I'm kind of building a Jenga board on my torso. But I used to do that all the time, but I didn't do anything to work for that stuff. I would just go to the wrestling school and that would be my exercise. I would go to the wrestling school 4 days a week, and that was my exercise. But I didn't go to the gym back then. And then I had to get like, I don't think I got like passionate about fitness and about like developing my body and my muscles until like, probably 10 years ago. Like, and I was probably like 2000. I don't want to say, maybe 2010 was when I got really passionate about weightlifting. And then 2011, I had to take a break from it. And I just came right back to it. Like had a little setback with seizures. I had some seizure problems back in 2011, where I had to take a little break from weightlifting and weight training for about 6 months. I had a what? Well, you're a doctor. You know what an AVM is, right?
Yeah.
So I had a cranial AVM,
Mhm.
right over my right frontal lobe here.
Wow.
And I was taking a shower this August 4th, 2011. It was a Thursday. I had a wrestling show in Reading, PA that day. So I knew getting ready for the wrestling show, I was taking a shower first. Normally on Thursdays, at the time I was living back with my mom. And normally on Thursdays, I would get in the shower, lock the door, turn the music on really loud. And my mom would be at work. This Thursday that I'm talking about, she didn't go to work, and I didn't turn the music on, and I didn't lock the door like I normally would. I remember just brushing my teeth, and then I remember being in an ambulance. That's all I remember. Like what had happened was I had the AVM had started bleeding into the front of my skull.
Oh my God.
So as it bled into the front of the skull, I had a grand mal seizure in the shower.
Oh my.
And I fell out of the shower, and the shower curtain had wrapped itself around my face. And I broke the toilet. Like I went like back onto the toilet out of the shower and took the curtain down with me. So my mom, who normally isn't home, was home. She heard it banging on the door, just opened it. It wasn't locked. I didn't lock it that day. And she came and ripped the shower curtain off my face, which I was like suffocating while seizing. So my mom saved my life that day. Then I went, my little sister called the ambulance to come and take me. They took me to the hospital around here. The hospital around here didn't know what it was. They kind of had an idea, but they weren't sure. So they helicoptered me to the University of Pennsylvania. Oh. So I got helicoptered to the University of Pennsylvania, where they said they found out it was an AVM. And I had never heard of that before. Neither had my mom, neither had my Aunt Tugger, who's a nurse. So they kind of like ran over with my mom what the options were. I was out of it. Like I still didn't really know what was going on. And they ran over my mom, like what the options were. And some nurse came in and was like, listen, it's probably better that like we take a little bit of a break and let the swelling go down. Just wait a couple weeks and then do the craniotomy, which the two options were the craniotomy and the gamma radiation. The gamma radiation would have took a lot more recovery time, and I probably would have never been able to wrestle again. That's what she told my mom. And it just so happened that the brain surgeon, the neurosurgeon, Dr. Eric Zager from University of Pennsylvania, he was going on vacation for like 3 weeks. And he came in and he told me about what the surgery was, and I was still a little loopy, and on top of that, very arrogant, like I said. So I was like, so you mean to tell me I can't lift weights? You're going to cut my hair and I can't wrestle? Just don't do it. Just don't even do it. Just let me just go back to my regular life. And and he was like, if I don't do it, you'll be dead by 34. And I was like, all right, well, I guess do it then. I guess do it then. And And then we made the appointment for the 29th. So from the 4th to the 29th of August in 2011, I was sort of facing the fact that, like, maybe I'd never wrestle again. Maybe I wouldn't make it through this surgery. So I had that 3 weeks there to sort of research and see other people, like what their stories have been through getting these neurosurgeries. And a lot of people like were changed. And I was afraid that like I might not ever be like the same again, because some people would lose their eyesight. Some people would lose their hearing. Some people couldn't walk or talk, any of that stuff. And I was like, I mean, I can't get too bogged down on the fear. I got to just look forward to the other side of this. So I just kept going, like, I can't wait to return to wrestling. I can't wait to return to all the things that I'm allowed to do. And when I do, it's going to be an entirely new standard for me. I'm going to have a new standard for myself. What I would say, I said this on the gurney. I said, I'm going to be a new standard. No longer will I wrestle matches I don't want to wrestle. No longer will I wrestle for promotions I don't want to work for, taking paydays I don't want to take. Like, unless it's this much money, I'm not taking it. Like, unless it's this much reward versus the risk, I'm not taking it. So I said that on the hospital bed. And then when I came back to wrestling, I called myself the new standard Cory Kastle, because that was a shoot. That was real life for me. That was exactly what happened. So what happened? Fast forward a little bit. I've told the story a million times, but I know your listeners need to hear.
Oh no, we need to hear that. I did not know.
So when they wheeled me into the OR, and I was admitted, the nurse said, "Have you prepared yourself to be here for 30 days?" And I was like, "No." And why do I need to be here for 30 days? And she said, "Well, we may have to teach you to read and write and walk and talk all over again."
Oh my God.
And I didn't even react to it in a scared way. I went, I'll be home in a week. I just said, I'll be home in a week. That's what the instant just came right out of my mouth. I just said, I'll be home in a week. I was up on my feet in 3 days.
Wow.
And I didn't let anybody tell me, like, oh, here's what the fear is and here's what the worst case scenario is. I didn't have time for that, because I knew also going into that, my brother and sister had visited me, and they were living in North Carolina at the time. And when they came to meet me, when my brother was leaving to go back to North Carolina, we hugged in the street. Mm-hmm. And I felt he was just forcing with this sorrow and this energy of, this might be the last time I hug my brother.
Wow.
And I said, this isn't it. It's not it, dude. And he left. And then now he lives across the street from me. He moved back, and we get to hang out all the time. Like, we wouldn't have any of that. And I'm very, very, very glad that my mom instilled me with the principles of creating your life, of really, really wanting things instead of not wanting the things that you don't want the things that you do want.
Yeah.
Because if you focus all this energy on the things that you don't want, that's what you're gonna get. So I'd rather talk about the things that I do want, or the goals that I do have, versus the things that I don't want to be doing. Like right now, as the pandemic started, since the summer, I've been working for my friend Scott's dad doing HVAC work. That's work I did back in 2012. Or the last time I was doing 2007 was the last time I was doing it. And I'm doing it again, but it's like, for sure, not the work I want to be doing. But I'm not sitting here going like, I don't want to be doing this stuff. I'm more like, I have so many other things that I want to do, that this is just facilitating my living for now, whilst I pursue all the other things that I would like to do with my life for a living.
Wow. And I want to tell people, but they don't know. Maybe I can share with them. Cory took shower before coming.
I did. I took
So he's clean.
I made it through this one. I made it through this.
So, Cory, it's a much of fascinating story and how you really kind of learned. And so tell me, did you have to relearn every thing again, or you were lucky to kind of breeze through it?
Nope. No, I woke up from the surgery. I mean, my hair's all here. My hair all came right back, so you don't
Yeah.
know. But if you look here, and maybe right here, you see like how my head kind of dips here.
Yeah.
I have a scar that starts right under my hairline, like where a sideburn would be. If I could grow sideburns, but I can't. The scar starts here, and it goes all the way across my head like that.
Wow.
So basically, what they did was they cut me from ear to ear across the top of my head, and then they peeled the front of my face off. And they cut a little hole in my skull so that they could resection the veins, or kind of like straighten them out. That's what a craniotomy is. So then they put a little metal plate back over the hole after they resectioned it, and then put my face back on, and put like 200 staples in the top of my head.
Wow.
So my fat deposits that were here kind of got moved. So I don't really have. I lost the feeling in the right side of my face for like 6 months.
Wow.
And it came back. And if you see, there's like a little scar. Honestly, these are not complaints. If the least bit I have is that I have a little bit of a divot on the side of my head, that's fine. I'm smarter and wiser, and you know what I mean? Like I gained so much from this, and I got an opportunity for all of this now to be bonus, because like some people who get this, they go right to the worst case scenario, and they live in that victimhood of the worst case scenario. But me, I was very much not ready to accept any kind of defeat. I mean, I was scared for a minute and unsure for a minute, but who wouldn't be? And
who would be? Yeah.
I definitely.
And that is blessed. You're blessed. Definitely. You're blessed that you had such a great return. A lot of people are not as fortunate. So which is great. We are always thankful for what we have. So.
Huge gratitude towards Dr. Eric Zager at the University of Pennsylvania. If I could at any point reach back out to him, I'd love to have him as a guest on my podcast. I never talked to him again after this. I mean, we had that 6 month follow up, and then I've never seen him again or talked to him again. I don't know anything about what his life is, but Dr. Eric Zager at University of Pennsylvania neurology department. Neurosurgeon. Yes, neurosurgeon at the University of Pennsylvania. Dude, I'm so lucky that I live here. I'm so lucky that like one of the best neurosurgery departments in the world is right here in my city. So
wow.
It just all of it goes back to how divine all the timing is. Like how all of it that lines up so perfectly to make sure that I can make the impact on this world that I'd still like to make. Not still like to make, still would love to make. And that's what I say with my podcast. And my podcast, Evolving with Cory Kastle, the way I do it is I want to make sure that everything I'm saying on the record, this is all vulnerable me. I'm putting my whole self out there, and I'm not hiding things. I mean, Cory Kastle is a stage name that I made up when I was a teenager. My name is really James. I put it all really out there. And it's like a lot of it is, I know this stuff is going to outlive me. So all these messages, all this audio, all the video of the podcast, all of the it's all a timestamp on right now. Mm-hmm. Anything I do is a timestamp on that right now. So if this outlives me, and in 4 years. 4 years after I passed, someone goes, you know what? I'm going to listen to all of these. I'm going to listen to all of these. But and I plan at this point, I have 209 episodes,
Wow.
210 episodes on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. But if they go by the time I've passed, hopefully I'll have a lot more episodes. This will help somebody. You know what? I'm hoping that it'll help somebody, even if I don't get a billion subscribers right now. Let's say after I've passed, it helps one person look at their life different and practice gratitude and really understand like that a man, not all men, not everything that you think fits into this box this way is the way that you think it is just by appearances or just by quick judgment. So that's I hope that if I can make a difference in somebody's life, whether it's now or later,
Yeah.
I'll feel like I've accomplished something.
Yeah. And that is such a wonderful. Thank you for putting your heart out and kind of conveying this message that, even we focus on one person or even few people and make a difference. I mean, that's our lifestyle podcast and TV shows and TV channel is that we deal with few. We want to make a difference to even few, even one, and that we'll feel very obliged and very happy that we have accomplished our mission. So, any final thoughts you have for my audience?
Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody for I would say that, and I want to throw this at you, Dr. Moby. I feel like if you want to if you need a resource for anything, absolutely. If you think I can help you in any way, I'd love to be valuable.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to be a resource. If you need some judgment-free conversation, if you need a friend, let me be that friend. And I say be at the service of others because it will wind up being at the service of you.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. So, God bless you. I mean, we really can see the passion and the honesty and the love you want to spread. And I hope all my audience and people who are watching do appreciate. And we pray that you have a long life and keep entertaining us. Okay. You take care. And thank you for watching our show, Lifestyle with Dr. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Be fun. Have safe. Keep evolving.
you.